The man behind the mask, Josef Fritzl's public face, Josef Fritzl. To his neighbours in Amstetten, Austria, he was just a regular guy. He was a landlord, an engineer, someone you wouldn't really notice. You might see him walking to the pub or working in his garden. Nobody guessed the terrible secret he was hiding. Behind his normal appearance, Fritzl had a very dark mind, capable of terrible things. He was good at tricking people, making them believe he was a good person. Fritzl had a wife, Rosemarie, and kids. He seemed like someone people should respect. But this normal appearance hid a scary truth. He was cruel and controlling at home. His wife was afraid of him, and his children also suffered from his harsh treatment. But no one could have imagined how truly evil he was. His daughter Elisabeth would become the main victim of his twisted desires. To everyone else, Josef Fritzl was ordinary, but behind closed doors, a monster was waiting to hurt his daughter. A daughter vanishes, Elisabeth's disappearance and Joseph's web of lies, August 28, 1984. A day we will never forget. On this day, 18-year-old Elisabeth Fritzl disappeared, just gone. Her parents, Josef and Rosemarie, told the police she was missing. The police started looking for her. Josef Fritzl, the sad father, acted his part perfectly. He told the police Elisabeth ran away, maybe to join a group. He even showed them a letter that seemed to be from Elisabeth. It said she wanted to leave her family and her life. The police believed him because they had no other explanation. Josef Fritzl's lie worked. A lie that would keep his daughter prisoner for the next 24 years. The truth was much worse. Elisabeth didn't run away. She was held captive, imprisoned by her own father. He tricked her into going into the basement of their house, saying he needed help with a door. Once she was inside, he attacked her. He gave her drugs, tied her up and locked her in a soundproof room he had secretly built. Elisabeth was trapped, and her father's lies kept her silent. Her disappearance became a mystery, a sad story for the small town of Amstetten. Josef Fritzl continued to live his double life. The respected citizen, the grieving father. He fooled everyone. And all that time, his daughter was trapped in the dark, at the mercy of her cruel father. A living nightmare, 24 years of captivity and the birth of 7 children. The basement was Elisabeth's prison, a cold, damp cellar hidden under the family's house. For 24 years, this underground room was her whole world. She suffered terribly because of her father. He repeatedly raped and abused her, and Elisabeth gave birth to 7 children while she was trapped. 3 of these children were forced to live their whole lives underground, never seeing anything but the concrete walls and dim lights of their prison. Josef took 3 other children upstairs. He told his wife Rosemarie that he found them abandoned. Rosemarie, not knowing the truth, believed him and raised these children as her own. Josef Fritzl had created a complicated web of lies, a truly horrifying fake reality. He controlled everything about Elisabeth's life, when she could eat, sleep, even use the bathroom. She lived in constant fear, never knowing when he would hurt her again. But even in this horror, there was a little bit of hope. Elisabeth tried to make things as normal as possible for her children. She taught them to read and write, using old books and magazines. She sang them songs and told them stories, trying to protect them from the awful truth. But the truth, like a dark shadow, couldn't be hidden forever. A glimmer of hope. Kerstin's illness and the unraveling of a horrific secret. In April 2008, Kerstin, Elisabeth's oldest daughter, became very sick. She got worse quickly. Elisabeth, desperate to save her child, begged her father to take Kerstin to the hospital. Josef, worried that his secret would be discovered, finally agreed. He took Kerstin to the hospital, saying he found her unconscious and alone. Doctors were confused by Kerstin's illness and didn't believe Josef's story, so they called the police. The police thought something wasn't right and started to investigate. They asked the public for any information about who Kerstin was. Back in the cellar, Elisabeth watched the news, feeling both scared and hopeful. For the first time in 24 years, the outside world knew her children existed. This little bit of hope gave her strength. She convinced her father to let her go to the hospital to see Kerstin. This would be his downfall. At the hospital, the police separated Elisabeth from her captor. Finally away from his control, she felt safe enough to tell the truth. What she said shocked Austria and the rest of the world. Everyone was horrified by Josef Fritzl's terrible crimes. Picking up the pieces, the aftermath and the long road to recovery. The news of what happened to Elisabeth shocked the world. People couldn't understand how Josef Fritzl could be so cruel to his own daughter. Reporters went to Amstetten, wanting to know every detail of the terrible story. Elisabeth and her children were immediately kept safe. They were finally free, but they were deeply hurt by what happened. Their healing journey had just begun. They needed a lot of medical care, therapy and counseling to deal with their trauma. The outside world, so big and free, was both exciting and scary for Elisabeth and her children. They had to learn how to live normal lives, how to make friends, how to trust people again. Josef Fritzl was arrested and charged with many crimes, including rape, incest and kidnapping. His trial in 2009 was watched by people all over the world. He was found guilty of everything and sent to prison for life. The people of Amstetten were shocked. They couldn't believe such a terrible thing happened in their town. Many wondered how they missed the signs, how Josef Fritzl tricked them for so long. This case reminded everyone that terrible things can happen behind closed doors, and how important it is to be watchful and to speak up about abuse.